But Mac Jones finally had his moment in the fourth quarter. We've been calling for it. I mean, he's been a good quarterback at times during his career for various other circumstances. But he's had opportunities to come away with victories. Sometimes he's done his job, sometimes he hasn't. But the bottom line is, during his career, he only has one fourth quarter comeback, one come from behind victory in the fourth quarter, one game-winning drive, and that was the Houston Texans, which doesn't really even count because that team was god-awful. But he had his moment. He wasn't great for the first three quarters. A lot of what the Patriots did on offense was, Bill O'Brien, his scheme, which I thought was tremendous in this game, which we'll get into. But you look, the fourth quarter, Mac Jones was dimes. I mean, was it perfect? No. He had to delay a game penalty. He had the near interception. He got strip sacked on a bad play. He missed Demario Douglas the play before Mike Gesicki caught the game-winning touchdown. It wasn't perfect, but what you ask of your franchise quarterback, hey, the game's close in the fourth quarter or you're behind, go make throws under pressure into tight spots to win the game. Mac Jones did that. So, people should give him his flowers for this game, especially the people who have been killing this kid relentlessly throughout his career because he doesn't look like Tom Brady. He doesn't do what Tom Brady does. Look, the kid got it done against a really good opponent. I don't care what shape the Bills in are right now. That's the Buffalo Bills. And they're a good team, and Josh Allen is on the other sideline. And Mac Jones outdueled Josh Allen. If this was Tom Brady, people would be pants off talking about how great Tom Brady was. And, because it's Mac Jones, people, want to poke holes in it, which there are holes to poke in it. But the bottom line is, the fourth quarter, he was tremendous. He got the job done, 2 scoring drives, including one when it looked like the Patriots were going to blow the game. They didn't go down and just kick a field goal to go overtime. They won the game with like 12 seconds left. I mean, it was tremendous. It's what we've been waiting for out of Mac Jones.
I've countered this idea about the comeback victory thing and the game-winning drive. I think that's fakakta. I think that's such a fugazi thing. And I say that because it's a complete team sport. And we rely on breaking down what the team did for the first 3.5 quarters. But then all of a sudden, it's all about the last 6 minutes and the quarterback. It's a strange thing to me. I don't know why the human brain works the way it does for many, but it does. I have my Mac files, as you called them a week or two ago. I'm not going to get into it. You can check out my podcast, The Nick Cattles Show. This is Greg's podcast. We talk about the game in this pod. You can check it out. But I'll just say this. There are a lot of games in Mac's career as a Patriots quarterback that he has done more than enough to put this team in position to win against good teams in the fourth quarter. And we just forget about those moments because the Patriots end up losing those games. And I'll just say that many of those games, it's not on Mac. It's on the defense. It's on Belichick kicking, a 56-yard field goal that Nick Folk misses by a million miles. It's, punting in overtime against Dallas after your defense gave up. So, I mean, it's fumbles by running backs inside the 10 twice. So there's a lot that goes into that. I will add this because I found it interesting. And again, it's the Nick Cattles Show podcast if you want to check it out to get the full layout of all that. But I will say that I found it interesting, Greg, in the post game. I thought Mac kind of hinted towards that at the podium because he was asked a question about this being his first comeback, blah, blah, blah. And Mac, and I'm paraphrasing it, but Mac said that he's looked at all of those games. He said, I've looked at all of those games, and something along the lines of many things have to go right. And I look at my role that I've played in some of those games, and I need to be better. I think Mac's saying what I'm saying, which is, hey, man, I've looked at all those games. We've had a chance. And it isn't always on me, even though that's the narrative. I've actually helped a number of times. So I found that very interesting. I agree with you. Most complete game in a long time.
Yeah. One follow-up sort of on the, Mac discussion about coming through in the fourth quarter. And you and I are completely on the same page. And I went through this with, Aaron Rodgers when I covered him, where, it took him a while to get over the hump, as we've talked about on this podcast. But, you could look at specific games where you're like, Rodgers did this, and then, the defense let up a game-winning drive. Rodgers did his part, then the defense didn't. And there's all sorts of stuff like that. But and it's totally valid, and I completely agree with you. I do think, though, however, that there is a significance in actually coming through in a moment like this for a quarterback, especially for his teammates. Like, I just think that, come Wednesday's practice, or, maybe they're on the practice field today. I don't know what their schedule is this week, because first like 24 hours after a game, I'm just buried in film, and I don't know what's going on. His teammates are going to look at him in a different way. I mean, when you come through like this in the waning moments of a game for a win, like, they might say the right things about Mac Jones and that they believe him and all that stuff. But like when a quarterback actually does it, it changes things. Now, look, they need to go out and follow this up in Miami. I mean, it doesn't do any good if they go out and they get blown out by the Dolphins and they're back to turning the ball over and pick sixes and stuff like that. It's not going to amount to anything. But it was very important for Mac, while he might have done his job in the past, to come through in a moment like this against a good opponent, just for his teammates and their belief in him. And the receiver, some of them might be like, oh, okay, just a little bit more belief in Mac, especially at the end of games, or when Mac says, all right, 2 minutes, this is what we're going to do. Because he's done it, now they believe it a little bit more. Maybe there's a little bit more effort. It's just those little intangible things. This does make a difference. And, we'll see. Like I talked about before, Aaron Rodgers, 10-14 to start his career. His teammates were questioning him. He was trying to play hero ball. He got called out on the carpet in a team meeting after losing to Tampa. And then the very next week, he led his drive against Dallas to come back and beat them. And that changed everything for this team. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's the type of thing that can happen when a quarterback comes through like this.
The CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston. And get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose.
All right, let's talk more about the offense from Sunday. Can we all settle down on the Matt Patricia, Bill O'Brien comparisons after what we saw against the Bills?
Yeah. Yes, for sure. This was... And I wish I'll have to make some more calls later in the week, when guys sort of decompress from this and are on to the next game. But, let's just deal with the offense right now. This was such a different game plan for the offense than we've seen. I mean, they went from Nowheresville on offense. They couldn't do anything. And, look, I don't think a lot of it had to do with the offensive line changes. I think it helped. And maybe that was the catalyst for Bill O'Brien to do a few more things that he felt like they could execute things at a higher level. Maybe that's what it was. That's the easiest answer. And often, the easiest answer is the right one. But for Bill O'Brien to come out and use motion as much as he did, RPOs as much as he did, he was able to just scheme up a lot of easy plays for the quarterback, which is something we've been begging for weeks. Like, when your quarterback's like in a funk, like you need the coordinator to go out there and be like, all right, here's a bunch of like easy throws. And that's basically like what the first three quarters were. I mean, in the first three quarters, I had Mac for 1+ throw in the game, and that was a third down throw to Demario Douglas over the middle, which was a tremendous throw and tremendous catch for them. I think might have set up a touchdown. So a lot of their offense that they got going in the first three quarters was on, Bill O'Brien and scheming it up. He'd bring guys in late motion, using Demario Douglas as much as he did. And, basically it was the Kendrick Bourne and Demario Douglas show. I mean, hallelujah, thank God. And, hopefully that continues. And I think, and I was on TV last night with Mr. Felger, and, he's ranting and railing about Belichick's contract and about how, you don't want this. Like, is this what you want? Look at their offense. He's behind the times. And I'm like, this is a tough week to make this argument because the Patriots actually looked like a modern offense on Sunday for once against the Bills. We don't know the reasons for it, but I thought it was a tremendous job by Bill O'Brien. I don't know why it took this long, but look, it's out there. They look like a modern offense. It looked really good.